I'm in the hangover stage of the holiday weekend. I don't know about you. And of the semester.
Yeah.
Are y'all done?
I actually am all done. I turned in my final grades today. And so like my actual work is actually done for about 8 weeks. So that's
great.
exciting.
That's very exciting.
How does it feel?
It doesn't feel like anything yet. I'm like in the the zombie phase,
Sure.
But maybe Thursday it will feel like something.
It'll settle in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like November's been a very strange month, because most of it seemed like it flew by. Like it seems like yesterday it was Halloween. But then once Thanksgiving happened, now I feel like I can't believe it's still November. I feel like time since Thanksgiving has like elongated now for me.
I just feel like yesterday. I feel like yesterday was March.
Yeah.
We have tornadoes. We had tornadoes in our state today.
I saw that.
That was nutty. And it's blowing like Wizard of Oz levels outside.
It's very cold. I mean, it's not even cold, but the wind is cold. It's going to drop, like today it was like 70 degrees, and it's going to drop down to like the 20s overnight. I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, can we even use the adjective nutty to describe anything in 2020 anymore? I feel like it's lost all its meaning now.
It's just a whole bowl of nuts.
Yeah.
Like it's that Christmas stocking that you got as a kid and you're like, ew, why? But it's all like the Brazilian nuts and the whatever the weird white nuts are.
Sorry to anyone out there who's Brazilian or enjoys macadamia.
I have nothing against Brazilians. Don't enjoy their nuts. Also, they're really hard to crack. And that's not what you want in your stocking.
No, when you're a kid, that's, definitely
not. When you're a kid. Sorry, my Santa, that one year. Don't know what Santa was thinking.
So before we even started the call, we were laughing about how this is a cocktail hour, and today we're going to be talking about recipes for great plays, like what are the ingredients to a great cocktail of a story. And none of us are drinking cocktails. We've sort of failed our own premise today. I'm drinking water. Jesse's drinking ginger ale. Jeremy is drinking, I don't know, what, the blood of his enemies?
The blood of my enemies. I've had plenty of caffeine earlier in the day. So I'm doing just fine.
Yeah.
And I will be drinking something warm before we begin rehearsal here in a bit. So, I'll make it.
Great.
And as far like I have other kinds of cocktails in my bloodstream. They're all legal, but I have cocktails in my bloodstream, and they're doing okay. That's what I would say.
Fair enough. They're
doing okay. So
I'm not sure how metaphorical we want to get with this. This recipe for play idea. Like, are we going to be using actual like food and beverage ingredients that remind us of things and then like make real cocktails, or are we just talking about like the kinds of themes that we would find in a great play?
I can do both. I will say that unlike 90% of the cocktail hours that I've participated in before, I actually did prepare for this.
Oh, great.
I wouldn't say I don't want to oversell it, but I do actually have an answer for a cocktail tied to at least two plays.
Okay.
One is a one first. So the play should be self-apparent. It is the Scottish play, and so you take the glass of scotch, and you add bitters to it. If you've never had bitters before, you should get some. They're really good.
No.
You get bitters, and they actually, as it happens, there are blood orange bitters. So you get blood orange bitters, and you add a little dash, and you do your scotch and soda, and you've got a cocktail that is thematically appropriate.
I like the inclusion of the soda. because soda is carbonated. And I feel like you need something bubbly and or fruity to represent the humor in Mackers, because that play is so fun.
Plus the double toilet trouble bubbles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a good
And
one.
if you serve it in a glass with a mirrored bottom, I mean, I think you're all the way there.
Ooh, that would be fun. I've never seen a glass with a mirrored bottom.
Neither have I.
Have you?
I mean, we could make one.
We
special
can make our
thing,
custom
like while we're
glasses.
dreaming.
I mean, there are certain drinks that require certain glasses, so this could be one of them.
Yeah.
Could be. Mm-hmm.
I am not a fan of Scotch or bitters or the play Mackers, but that is a very like well-made cocktail and very like thematically resonant. So yeah, 10 points to Jeremy.
I find that I can
I'd
drink
try it.
Scotch about 3 months out of the year. It has to be cold, like the weather has to be cold.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to imbibe smoke, like in North Carolina, you imbibe smoke all the time because like barbecue is all over the place.
Sure.
Like,
and you
smoke,
imbibe it whether or not you desire to.
Yeah, it's like these tiny little windows. And like I've been to Scotland. I have had the Scotch there. It makes sense because like the weather invites it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it does not make sense in other places like it makes sense there. And so I can sort of justify it from about now until like mid-February, and then it's over.
Sure.
Then you're done. Scotch season is over. I like the Scottish play. So,
Do you feel like there's a time of year to do the Scottish play, like in the same way that there's a time of year to drink Scotch?
I think it does better in the winter for reasons I can't explain.
Mm-hmm.
But I did it in the summer in grad school. I directed 2 productions at the same time. That was a bad idea. But I did it in the summer, and it was, it was okay. But I think the productions I've seen and enjoyed most of that show have been in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Ours was in the winter.
What was the other play that you were directing alongside it?
No, I was directing 2 versions of the Scottish play.
Oh.
Why?
Where well, it was for my MLit thesis project.
Okay.
So I staged one like it was at the Globe and one like it was at the Blackfriars. And it was the same cast in both shows, but they switched roles. And like I played Malcolm in one and Duncan in the other, and Rob Gibbs from After Hours, he played Mac in one, and I can't remember what he did in the other. And this is the famous production that caused me to believe in the curse, because in that summer, and I think I've got my facts right here, Rob like shredded his ankle. He was working construction. He like stepped in a hole and shredded his ankle.
Oh
no! In stage combat class it was overseen by like Doreen and JP at in Stanton, and he like tore his rotator cuff. And then later we were putting the set together, and he was holding 2 pieces of wood together, and I accidentally drilled through his thumb, and that was not fun. And I know I have those facts right. It may also be the case that he suffered a fairly significant family death in that period, but I'd have to check with him if my timeline is right. Anyway, since that time, I have believed in the curse. For reasons that I hope are now apparent.
Yikes.
Yeah. Wolf.
For sure.
Irrelevantly, Malcolm is my favorite character in Mackers by a country mile. I absolutely love Malcolm. I don't know what your cutting was like, so I don't know how much of him you kept, because he's not particularly important to the plot, but his scene with Macduff and then Ross is one of my favorite scenes in Shakespeare.
It's great. I
so
love
good.
it, and it's so hard. It's a tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
But as soon as you do, it's like delightful.
Oh, it's so funny. Yeah. I saw
the
one that the National Theater did with Rory Kinnear. God, 1 year, 2 years ago now, and they cut the Malcolm scene to shreds because that production took itself so seriously that presumably they didn't have room for the the abject hilarity of Malcolm's lust monologues, but I was so upset. I was like, you kept everything that was boring about this play and you cut the jewel that is that scene. Because the way that scene veers from like perfect bonkers comedy into the tragedy of Macduff finding out about his family, like it's just, to me, it's one of those hairpin turns that only Shakespeare could really accomplish.
For a long time, it was my favorite. I also have played the Scot himself in a production that was pretty fun here in town at the Gilbert Theater. That was a lot of fun. You know, it's maybe my favorite of those kinds of roles. You know, the Hamlets and the Lears and the Iagos and those kinds. It's probably my favorite of those kinds. You know.
Yeah. I saw Seven.
I did see several years ago. I saw Ethan Hawke in the Lincoln Center production.
Oh yeah,
and I liked it. I think I liked it more than I was supposed to, based on what I read and other people's reactions. But I had fun.
Have your own reaction. Critics are just people too.
That's a good one. What about you, Jessie? Do you have a play that you love and a cocktail to maybe accompany it?
I'm going to say I didn't do the homework.
I mean, neither did I. So we're in the same boat.
Let me think.
Speaking of boats, I think a Curacao-based cocktail for the Tempest would be delightful.
I was just thinking about the Tempest, and I was like, you have to have like just some wonderful fruity islandic flavors going on there.
Sure.
Yes. I would like a coconut. Just the coconut. No, it definitely needs more than a coconut.
I think if I was going to drink a cocktail, it would be something from the comedies. Because I don't drink dark alcohol. I don't like rum or scotch or, whiskey. And I like fruit a lot. And I like citrus. And those ingredients seem like they would be more comedy-esque. So even though the comedies are like, the histories are my love in terms of the types of plays that Shakespeare wrote. But I think if I was going to be drinking cocktails based on Shakespeare plays, I would like stick to the comedies genre, where there's like, peach and grapefruit and schnapps and tequila and those kinds of things. Like I feel like a really blitzy like strawberry margarita with like a salt rim, something just chaotic like that for the Comedy of Errors.
I was gonna say it's not for Comedy of Errors.
Yeah, where there's like, or something with like, I'm not a huge fan of the cherry flavor, but something with a cherry on it, like a daiquiri with 2 cherries for midsummer.
Yeah, like a. Or I was just thinking about Merchant of Venice and how it could be like a pina colada. Don't ask me why, except that the color is white, and if you put a little cherry in it, it's like the pound of flesh kind of. Anyway,
I was thinking the 2 cherries connected by one stem metaphor that Hermia uses with her and Helena.
I like that.
That could work for the daiquiri for midsummer. I'm actually going to be reading. I'm going to be reading as Portia in a Merchant of Venice reading, led by an actor named Roger Lipson, who's based up in New York, on December 12th, I think. And I really struggle with Merchant. I don't know anyone who doesn't. And Portia is one of those characters who like fascinates me, but I don't love her because she's a white, racist, privileged, kind of disaster human. But I'm very excited to read it with a company of actors, most of whom I've never met and don't know very well, and just like hear the full play, because I don't know that I ever have. Like I've read it the whole thing many times, but I don't know that I've ever heard the whole play, because every production I've ever seen has like cut it substantially and done pretty radical things with it, which the director in me loves, but the sort of Shakespearean me is like, so what's like really going on? And I'm just excited to, I'm excited to experience that.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about the play's content.
Yeah.
And I tend to find myself in most enjoying productions that just like show it. It's not like obviously I don't expect that the actors and directors like love the content either, but like, requiring, like using the play as a mirror for current society, whatever, racism and sexism and those kinds of things, I think is I find myself enjoying those things. And it makes me think of a cocktail that would be like a Bloody Mary with a lot of like meat in it.
Yeah.
It's,
I think Titus Andronicus has to be a Bloody Mary.
Yeah, that's true.
Has to be.
With a lot of spice, like a really spicy Bloody Mary, because that
throw those jalapenos all in there.
We have a
Some
cocktail. So we have a rum here in North Carolina. It's made by the Raleigh Rum Company, I want to say. It is a Carolina Reaper.
Oh yes.
Rum. And it's like infused with Carolina Reaper, which used to be the spiciest pepper
now there's
in the
one
world, and now
hotter
it's
that
been
has
replaced
like
by something
a
else.
number.
But it's super spicy. It is the spiciest.
So what are some good rum-based drinks? Because I don't drink rum.
Mojitos. That'd be a good comedy one. Maybe mojito, I'm thinking for 12th night.
Yeah, it's got like ground up mint,
nice.
Which is kind of winter-timey feeling, and
see, I was thinking
sugar.
It's like kind of light.
I think a mojito is winter's tale.
Mm.
Because it's got the rum, the spice, the kind of summery, brightness of like a bohemia and a comedy genre, but it's got the mint, and it's rum, so it is a little bit darker, a little bit heavier to get that like those first 3 acts of tragedy, in Cecilia. I feel like you can drink a mojito in winter and you can drink a mojito in the summer.
Mm.
I like that.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Now
And now I've run out of ideas.
I just want to get a mojito.
I love to take them in the summer, and my mint is dead now, so I cannot. So I have to wait till it grows back. I could just buy mint, but it's so much nicer when it comes straight out of your yard.
Yeah, that's true.
Something special.
I'm wondering, so I love grapefruit and lime. Like those are like really like harsh, bright citruses are like that's my favorite thing. So I'm wondering where would a Greyhound, like a grapefruit and vodka, go? Would that be like it's very pink, so I feel like we got to have like a female driven comedy. Like would that be like an As You Like It?
I like that for As You Like It.
Yeah.
It's like sharp, witty, forward.
Yeah.
I always think grapefruit tastes like black pepper, and it's got some peppery stuff in it.
And it's pink. Girl power.
Girl power.
Yeah, I would do a Greyhound for As You Like It. I think a lot of I'm working on a lot of restoration right now, and I feel like a lot of those cocktails would need to have like champagne floats on top, for that fizz, that sting right in your nose, but also the like kind of bougie, like the bougie implications of champagne. That you would have like maybe like a bog standard cocktail,
a mimosa.
Like a mimosa, like some like champagne infused into it somehow. Because and especially the way the carbonation like can like get in your nose. I feel like that's really somehow apt for the way those characters talk. It can just like clog up your senses. And it's all very like effervescent, and all the characters are just trying to be like they're trying to out charming against each other. And there's something just so like snobby and high society about it that I think champagne is like a go-to ingredient. I don't know what to do with the histories. Because I would want to, I would want to drink
old fashioned. Sorry, that was a joke.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, like in the Henriade, they're always talking about Falstaff's always talking about sack. So like, I do think wine, you know, like a mulled wine or like a cider for some of those older ones. King John has always struck me as a guy that would drink like Burgundy wines like all the time. Like he would be so snobby about his wine collection.
Speaking of wine, I had a very good one for my birthday.
Yay!
So I'm a huge fan of the 19 Crimes wines, which is one of those like Australian imports. But we found one that is like aged for 30 days in a rum barrel. But it's a Cab Sauv, and it's so good.
Wow.
Like you can taste the rum. So I don't know. Maybe that can go in one of your histories.
I like that. I mean, I think red wine is particularly apt for King John because there's so much blood. It's just like the color kind of works. Also, I think that if Constance of Brittany was alive today, she would absolutely be a wine mom. You know, like that. You know, that seems right to me. When I saw Liliana Blaine Cruz's incredible Henry IV Part 1 at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in 2017, they set it fully in its sort of fully contemporary London. And there was a kind of ongoing visual motif with Hal and a bottle of Jack Daniels, where we sort of saw his relationship to responsibility change over the course of the play in direct proportion to his relationship to this bottle of Jack Daniels that prostitutes were always offering him when he went back to the tavern, which was a what do you call it? A strip club. And so that was a really useful, like he knocked back a whole glass of like Four Fingers of it before the end of their Act 1, which was right when Hal decides like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to my father. Mistress quickly came over and like poured him a glass and gave it to him and just kind of stroked his hair and like hummed a lullaby as he drank it. And then later when he came in his like military fatigues to go to war, like she tried to offer it to him again. He sort of shook his head, then he set it down, then at one point he grabbed it and almost drank it, and then he didn't. It was very useful. It was a very useful way of tracking what was going on in his head, because that character so often is performing and isn't really saying what he's thinking about things. But based on his relationship to the prop, we got an idea of like where he was going to place his loyalties. And so now like Jack Daniels is just sort of inextricably linked to Henry IV Part 1 in my mind. And yeah.
This isn't a history play, but speaking of inextricable links, I mean, one of the drunkest nights I've ever had in my life was at the open air theater in London, watching Midsummer to a pitcher of Pim's #1 cup, and it was pretty delightful. If you don't know Pim's, it's great. If you like gin, it's great.
I do like gin. I like whatever's in that blue bottle, the blue gin bottle. That's
Bombay Sapphire.
Yes, that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's a really pretty bottle. You know.
I tried to replicate it by ordering another pitcher of Pim's #1 cup when I went back some number of years later and saw Much Ado About Nothing, and it was not the same.
Wasn't the right drink.
Yeah, or wasn't the right play. I don't know.
Yeah, some of those memories,
wrong.
You just can't replicate them.
That's true.
I think about the history plays sometimes, and because of the all of the sort of nationality based characters, it makes me think of things like Guinness and Irish whiskey and things of that nature. And that makes me think of a great combination, which is Jameson's Caskmates, they call it, I think. They have an IPA sort of
I didn't like
IPA
that one.
whiskey, and then you drink it with an IPA at the same time, and it's really good. Like they work together, complementary. Like you like sip on one and sip on the other, and it's like you're eating grass in a good way. And that makes me think of people like Owen Glendower and those types, you know. That was pretty tasty.
Is there room for a martini anywhere? I don't drink martinis, so I have a hard time piecing them to something.
I feel like Timon of Athens is a martini drinker.
Yeah, probably.
Until he's not. And
Yeah.
then he's just drinking olive juice.
Yeah.
Gross.
No, that's apt. I mean, I think the play that would, even though I'm not a fan at all, I think the play that would have really great cocktails would be Antony and Cleopatra. Because you can just get kind of like the Restorations. You can just get so decadent with those because Antony and Cleopatra are such freaking hedonists that I just think that and also she's so rich, you know, she's the Queen of Egypt. I think they would have really exciting, you know, spicy, delicious, you know, cocktails with all the best ingredients and probably really like spectacular colors. They would be the ones to have those cocktails that like change color while you drink them. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like
or you like have to set it on fire in front of your eyes before you drink it.
I mean, that nothing is more apt to me than a cocktail you have to set on fire because those characters are just setting themselves on fire in that play. So that I think that works. But if I was going to go to a club, Antony and Cleopatra would be the hosts of the best club. Like theirs would be the club you would want to go to.
Or just see them at like the restaurant everyone's trying to get into in American Psycho.
Exactly.
That's them.
Mm-hmm. I think a gin and tonic, like personally, I think a gin and tonic is 12th night.
I think Hamlet is just a bunch of Jaeger shots. That may be the German connection.
Yeah.
But lots of Jaeger. I could see it.
Yeah, I don't.
It's a student thing.
I don't know. Like, I really don't understand the character of Hamlet at all. But I do believe he has a very unhealthy relationship to alcohol.
He has a very unhealthy relationship to everyone and everything.
Yes,
I think
completely.
He just reminds me of like all 38-year-old men that I know. And so, if you're not one, I get not getting it.
I'm not one. And my husband's got 8 more years before we're there.
You have so much.
I hope that's not what we're walking into.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, oh God, I don't know if we want to get to that point.
But a cool Hamlet drink would be like one that it's got the dry ice effect or something. It's got goodies.
That would be fun.
What are other plays with magic? I feel like dry ice. You need something kind of magic.
Julius Caesar would be great. Would be a great one.
Yeah.
Lots of ghosts in Julius Caesar.
That works.
And it's just a cocktail with like lots of those swords like poked into.
You put like the cherry and like the little sword.
Yeah, but you have like 8 in there. Yeah.
8 like little floating
swords. Yeah.
They're just decapitated heads. That's really what they are. I'm sorry.
You could do cocktails based on characters too. Like you could, like Cassius could be just like some sort of dark and brooding liquid in this skinniest glass you can imagine.
Fireball.
It has a lean and hungry look.
Fireball. No, I feel like Fireball is Tybalt. Fireball is Hot Stepper.
Oh, that's funny.
Fireball,
Hot
you know,
sure.
like Fireball is those like sly
characters. The adolescent characters who have tempers and no judgment.
And daddy issues.
All the cast.
Specifically daddy issues. Like Laertes. Like Laertes, I think, is Fireball. Whereas Ophelia is like gin and
water.
Well, gin and lavender essence. Like something with flowers. Like it needs to be floral. Like rose water.
It be floral, and the way you drink it is you stick your head into it and drink all you can.
It's this giant fishbowl of gin.
Yeah. Rosalind.
Well, and we could talk about cocktails in plays, like wine with an onion in it. That's just the Gertrude. I think we called that the Gertrude.
Oh, God.
That sounds disgusting.
That sounds so awful.
Is that how we're supposed to feel about Gertrude?
No, that's what she drinks and dies.
Well, I would die
really
if I
a pearl,
drank that
but
too,
they call it an onion. That could be weird weird.
Yeah.
It could be weird.
I mean, it would give another reason for her to be crying at the end of the play. She's not just sad about her son. She's and her destroyed life. She's also, inhaling onion fumes.
She dies from a really bad cocktail.
A really bad cocktail.
Sure.
Poison aside, it's just a really bad cocktail.
Well, it just sounds awful. I don't know.
Is it more? I don't know. I'm not a martini drinker. I don't like olives, and I'm like, that to me is gross.
Yeah.
I could see martinis to a degree because of the olive factor in Othello, because that's so Mediterranean based anyway.
Mm-hmm. Can you throw, or you could just go really drunk and do like those fishbowl mixed drinks you get at the club.
Yeah, that's kind of gross.
But that would probably go better in one of those shipwreck. Mm-hmm. One of the shipwreck plays.
You could do for any of those shipwreck plays that take place on an island of a sort. You could totally do like a Long Island iced tea and just replace the name of the island with wherever you are.
Nice, easy drink.
I think
a Cyprus iced tea.
Front of house, we're giving you lots of ideas for once. We're doing gatherings again.
I think that all the plays in Italy, and maybe this is just because my mom was in wine distribution, and so Italian reds are like, they're very important to my family. But I feel like a lot of those comedies that take place in Italy, they just have to be drinking really good, Italian red wine. Like some really good Sangioveses. Like I think that in Much Ado, like there's nothing that would be lost in that play by having Benedict and Beatrice holding glasses of red wine the entire time.
I think it might add.
Except I think Benedict probably mixes something stupid in them. Like everybody else drinks them like wine is supposed to be had. But Benedict's like walking around with ice cubes in his wine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sangria is exactly right, Jesse. Like he's doing something. He's bastardizing.
He's bastardizing.
He's finding a way to be blasphemous to the wine itself. Yeah. Two Gentlemen of Verona could be like a red blend, right? Two things together, but it's still Italy.
Good rosé. I love a rosé.
So do I. Yeah, but it could be like it could be like a red wine from the Verona region plus a red wine from the Milan region, and it would be like a red blend of both. Now I really just want red wine.
Me too.
Yeah. It sounds good. Instead, we'll just think about it and talk about it.
Are we missing any major alcohols? I feel like we've hit most of them.
We've not done a lot of tequila.
No.
My fave.
We have not.
I stay away from that one.
So we need,
It's got to be a play with a lot of mistakes. They've got to be making mistakes.
A lot of mistakes. It's dangerous.
Prickly characters.
Maybe their clothes are coming off.
Like a cactus margarita,
What's that cactus margarita?
Just a spicy one.
Oh.
Definitely it's got to be a comedy, but it's got to be a comedy with teeth.
I feel like I've seen so many productions of Much Ado About Nothing set in like the Spanish-American War or the American West that like my brain has just gone there.
Yeah. I also really like Jesse's Taming of the Shrew suggestion
Mm-hmm.
for a really like sharp margarita.
Quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Taming of the Shrew is one of those plays I have no interest really in ever working on. But like I do.
Yeah.
But I do love margaritas, so if I was going to work on Taming, I would incorporate that somehow.
Okay. Hey Claire, better. So what about your favorite play, Love's Labours? What kind of cocktail does it get?
I feel like it has to be something that you can drink while you're reading like a really good book. Like it has to have that like this is my studying drink, but also you could like carry it outside and like watch a soccer game while holding it, because that play is all about.
I also feel like it could be a cocktail with a very long recipe.
Yeah.
That you have to follow precisely.
Precisely. Mm-hmm.
And it's made by hipsters.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things I love about Love's Labours is just how young and stupid all the characters are. The young 8-cup.
Smoked blueberry shrub. And you look at it with gin in mind, but it doesn't have gin in it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
A Spanish flair.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like my lack of cocktail knowledge is sort of becoming flagrantly apparent now. They're only like,
I'm like, I don't know.
Drink consistently.
What is a Spanish flair on a cocktail?
I do it's gonna sound basic, but it's complex, which I feel like is Love's Labours, right? Like the plot could not be thinner, and yet the play is somehow very complex. I feel like a really well made shaken Cosmo. Also, again, and like for that that kind of like bright, crisp pinkness of a Cosmo, but also like multiple fruits, right? Lots of different ingredients, and it's like and the person who makes it like the bartender does like crazy flips with the shake when he's making it.
Well, and I would say to be fully appreciated, all the women drink it, and all the men just talk while holding the glass.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that works.
Yeah, I think so too. And except I worked as a waitress outside of a country club, like at the pool outside of a country club one summer, and we had a specialty Cosmo. It was very, very pink, and it was made a very special way. And I had a group of young guys, and I say young, they were probably in their 20s. I was a teenager. And they were laughing at the drink because I think it was called like Love in the Sun or something kind of stupid like that, but it was romantic-esque. And I heard them laughing about it as I walked up. And I was like, what are you laughing at? And they're like, oh, this just sort of dumb girl drink. And I was like, uh-huh. Okay. So I left. I went back to where the bartender was, and I said, hey, will you make me one of the Love in the Suns and put a little bit in, will you give me like 4 testers, like 4 little tiny glasses of it, like little shots? And he was like, why? And I was like, because I think I can get these guys to order 4 of them, because there were 4 guys. And it was the most expensive cocktail we had. It was like $10 or something. And he was like, okay. So he made it. He put it in 4 little tiny taster glasses. I took it back out to the guys. They're like, what is this? I'm like, oh, your beers are coming, but this is the Love in the Sun. I just want you all to try it. They did, and then they ordered 3 rounds of it, so I ended up making 12 of them over the course of an afternoon because they loved it so much. So
love it. I love a pink drink.
Yeah.
I had many pink drinks on my honeymoons, and love it. I love them when they're blended.
Yeah.
One of my favorite cocktails also is very simple. It's just amaretto and cream, and it's really good. It's called the Toasted Almond, and it's good. And I cannot think of a Shakespeare play that it fits with, except that it's tasty if you like amaretto. It's really good.
But I think Love's Labours, where the guys get drop kicked by love and then like put in their place by women, is the right play for a pink drink. Then they finally taste it and they end up loving it.
Especially after your story,
yeah.
That fits.
Amaretto and cream. Amaretto's the coffee flavored one, right?
Amaretto's like it's sort of cherry. Amaretto comes from like apricot seeds or something, or cherry seeds, one of the two. And it's a cousin of cyanide.
Oh my god!
It's like cherry pits have cyanide.
Like pits, yeah. Like pretty much anything.
It's like a cousin of it.
So something with poison.
Mm-hmm.
A Shakespeare play with poison, and a lot of white people for the cream. I mean, that's most of them.
Yeah, throw it in Hamlet.
Yeah, they're all Danish.
Mm-hmm. They're really white.
That could work.
Mm.
Because I think if you were going to do a Hamlet in like the modern day, like a cyanide capsule would be an option for that. That whole poison shtick of Claudius's.
Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Although I think cream is wrong for a play that is so bright and vibrant and like hot. Like you don't like if it's hot outside, you don't want to like be drinking something really heavy and milky, do you?
They need a cranberry vodka.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there any like liquor that is specific to Italy? I only know wines.
I have no idea.
Yeah, like there are. I mean, I don't know. Like hazelnut liqueur is like Frangelico. It looks like an Italian monk.
That could work.
I don't know if it's actually Italian. I just know it. But they've got stuff. Actually, there's a cocktail made by a former Sweet Tea actor. His name's Mike Rabb. He makes this thing called Sgrappino, SGRAPPINO, and it's like limoncello and lemon sherbet and like maybe a sparkling wine over the top of it, and it's like stupid good. It's so good that I'm like, this should be the house cocktail of Sweet Tea Shakespeare when I taste it.
Oh my god!
Because it's like perfect. It's like lemonade-y.
Yes.
But it is and it doesn't taste like liquor in the best way. So you can
dangerous.
It's super dangerous. And it would be great for like an Italian setting. Like it's perfect. Because lemonade's like the counterbalance to the sweet tea, and it's pretty tasty. Stick a little mint leaf in it or something, or basil leaf. Could be truly delightful.
Yes.
And it would be like a great Coriolanus, kind of Italian with an edge. You know?
Wow, that's not where my head went at all. I mean, maybe. Huh. Yeah. Coriolanus to me I feel like dark and heavy with Coriolanus. Like Coriolanus is where I would be busting out your dark whiskeys, your amaretto sours. Maybe an amaretto sour.
Yeah, I do like an amaretto sour too. Maybe. And that's like sharp and sweet at the same time.
Yeah, maybe an amaretto sour for Coriolanus.
Some of my impression of Coriolanus has been colored by a lovely production at the Globe, starring a man whose last name was Cake, Jonathan Cake. Mm-hmm. And also starring the actor who played Jeffrey the Butler in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I just have a sort of bright, cheery read on that play as a result of those two very small things in my past.
Yeah, Jonathan Cake is a very warm actor. So
he's got one of the best noses ever made on a human being. He's got a great nose.
Fair enough.
It's a great nose.
What's the limoncello lime one your friend made? What's it called? The
Sgrappino.
Sgrappino.
Mm-hmm. It's just fantastic.
It sounds so good, but I wonder, like that to me, it sounds very whimsical.
Mm.
So I'm thinking, I'm in my head, when you said Coriolanus, I was going literally the other direction. I was thinking like a Cymbeline.
Oh, sure.
Like a fairy tale play.
Lemony.
Yeah, like there's acid, there is a sharpness and a brightness because it's lemon, but also like it's, it's sweet, there's sherbet, there's the bubbles of, the floating champagne. Like the Sgrappino sounds very Restoration, but to me it also sounds very Cymbeline. Like I would happily drink that while watching an outdoor production, of Cymbeline. I just want to taste it. It sounds amazing.
It does sound really good.
It's really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
When he comes back into town, I think he's in California now. I think he lives in California, but he comes back every now and again. And so next time he's in town, after you arrive, I'll have him make it for us.
Sounds great.
I think we made a good attempt at this.
Yeah. You covered a lot.
We did pretty well.
We touched on a lot of plays, a lot of alcohols.
I felt like it was a brain exercise for me personally.
So yeah, I think we can say that we made a good stab at it, and go forth and make cocktails for ourselves now.
Yeah, I'm going to spend the week experimenting.
Sounds good.
I've been inspired. But first, I'm going to go to rehearsal for Behold. So
have fun.
Yeah,
tough for now.
I'm going to go to a production meeting. So, we'll reconvene soon. Jessie, what are you up to?
I'm going to go feed my dogs.
Nice.
Guinness keeps reminding me it's almost dinner time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here both. To anyone who is listening, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.